and I couldn't let the death of one spirit remove the opportunity to bring so many more to life.
Do you guys want to build a family? What do you think? What do you think about that? Do you want to?
What? I want like 9. He
Really?
said only give me 3.
You want to birth 9 kids, or you want to have some too? Like straight up.
It's all up to God, I guess. But I was pregnant last year and had a miscarriage. And what's so interesting, and this is a good, I'm going to change my way to you real quick. Let's talk about this. I had a miscarriage, and I think it was a weird feeling. I can't really say what I felt. I think it was almost a little taboo, too, because I'm Puerto Rican. My ovaries are supposed to work till I'm 60 years old.
They're strong, baby.
Right? And when it happened, I was like, what the heck just happened? Like, I don't understand. And it was like, for the first time in my life, it was actually like once again, a God moment, aha moment where, okay, we're married. Like, we did it the right way. We actually have financial freedom where we could actually take care of a child. Like, this was something that we finally did all the way right, that our family has never seen before. My mom had me at 15 years old in the projects. Like, my dad used to sell drugs to her mom. That's how they originally met. Like, in my mind, when I looked at him and told him that I was pregnant, this was like a good thing. Like, it was not something that I had to hide. And we both know people who've been in a situation where they were terrified at that little thing turning blue, or the one line. And so when I wouldn't necessarily, it was planned, but when I had the miscarriage, we went to one doctor's appointment. I was bleeding a little bit. He was like, oh, it's like totally normal. Like, that's normal a little bit, especially when you just got pregnant. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I remember we were on our way to Houston. And I had told my dad, and we had already told his mom. She did all the crying, blah, 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 whatever, right? She was super excited. But we had to finish our Christian Entrepreneur Tour. So we're on tour, and then all of a sudden, it just got so bad. Like, the bleeding got so bad. I'm like, okay, this probably isn't normal. And so we were actually at the aquarium eating dinner, and I was like, guys, I'm tired. I'm going to go. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell Don, because I was, like, kind of freaking out inside. And I remember getting back to the hotel room, and I just laid there, and I called my doctor. He answered the phone. He was like, hey, run to the emergency room just to make sure it's done the right way. And things aren't, like, left in your body and stuff like that. So I texted my mother-in-law, and I was like, yo, I'm having a miscarriage. I'm going to go to the doctor. So she was like, did you tell Don yet? And I'm like, no, I'm just waiting for him to get here. And so she was like, I'm telling him right now. I'm like, all right, whatever. So she calls him, and he comes. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, we head over to the emergency room. Sitting there, you guys know how ERs are. Sitting there for freaking ever. And, they confirmed that I was having a miscarriage, but it would have to pass by itself. And they basically gave me, once again, this is stuff that no women talk about, so they think it's weird or unnormal, or like they make it taboo. And so I remember the next morning I had to perform. People were counting on me, and I couldn't let the death of one spirit remove the opportunity to bring so many more to life when it came to, building up their families. And so I was, like, actively miscarriaging while up on stage, teaching people about business and how to build their family and build generational wealth. And I just remember the last moment, this may be too much for the guys in the room, but women, like, totally, like, guys, sometimes a miscarriage can just be chalked up to things not being perfect. Like, a pregnancy, despite it seeming so easy, it has to be perfectly aligned, and it will completely, essentially delete itself if it's not ready, if it's not right, if it's not perfect. And basically, there was no baby in the amniotic sac for me.
Oh, wow.
So it came a point in time after the workshop, I went into the hotel room, and it deleted itself, and literally could, like, see it in my hand. Like, it was psycho crazy. But for me, I just wanted to make sure he was okay, because men never talk about that. And I know that, once again, it was something, we've never done it like this before. Our families are so broken. that we were the first marriage our family has ever seen.
Wow.
The first wedding little kids were ever dancing at. We did it the right way. Yeah. And so for him, I just wanted to make sure I was okay with it, because I'm like, I'm a woman. Like, I know how this happens. I know how this works. It is a lie from the pit of hell to saying that I ain't gonna birth kids. I'm gonna just let you know that right now. I'm gonna have many. And so I just wanted to make sure he was okay. And so I kind of just made sure like he was emotionally okay, and we talked about it. And we probably gonna get ready in a couple months. So
that'll be amazing. Yeah. What would you say to like other women who that go through miscarriages? You know, like I know a lot of times it does happen to, like, you're strong and you're great with your faith and everything, but a lot of times I see women are, you know, like they get super emotional about it, or like they don't talk about it. You know what I mean? It happens and they just move on, and you know. But like, what would you say to the woman who has went through a miscarriage or keeps having multiple, you know, and they are trying to get pregnant? You know, what advice would you give to them?
Definitely go see a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, it's that's one of the things I feel like we try to self-diagnose all the time, what's wrong with our bodies. But most importantly, before that, and this is just with life, but if there's a trial that is consistently happening in your life, number one thing that I encourage women to do, you're going to feel dumb doing it, you're going to feel stupid doing it, but do it anyway. Any thought in your mind that literally is deposited into your brain that is contrary from the Word of God, write it down, rip the piece of paper out of the book, ball it up and say, this is a lie and I do not have to submit to it. And when you start training your mind to not be manipulated and controlled by the enemy, bro, and I think that's the number one thing, because the reason we don't talk to nobody is, oh my gosh, I don't want anybody to know. Is something wrong with me? The enemy's trying to reconfigure your strategy and your thought process to run from God instead of run to Him and to the people He serves. That can help. And so, literally, anytime you know something is not true, if it's not contrary to the Word of God, oh, you're dumb, or you're not smart, you are small, you are insignificant, your body does not work the way the Lord told. Because that's what the enemy was telling me, right? If I'm continuing to be sad and soap and fight for freedom of the manipulation of the enemy, those are just lies. And so for me, very, very important, ladies, I would just, with anything in your life or a trial that consistently keeps showing up, write it down. Then rip it out of, this is not true. So it's not going to live in my mind or my heart. But that's the thing. The enemy wants us to stay isolated. He wants to stay alone so he can torment us. And for me, I have so many people dependent on me. If I'm tormented, that is only going to distribute to them. And they don't deserve that from me. I know, I understand, I go through things. I have to be patient. I have to self-care about myself. But sometimes self-care is a lot more strategic in spiritual warfare than it is just getting through it.
Yep. You're right about that.